What if your entire future hinged on one more decision you were just about to walk away from? One more phone call, one more I love you that rebuilds trust, one more rep that everything in you wants to quit, one more day of showing up when no one claps for you, or just one more verse in the book of Proverbs. Most people don't fail because they're unqualified. They fail because they stop one step too soon. That's the heartbeat of this message. The idea that your breakthrough isn't miles away. It's just beyond the moment most people give up. And really quick, if you're new to this channel, we break down best-selling ideas from top books and we connect them to scripture so you can grow in both knowledge and in your faith. And today, we're breaking down The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. You don't need more motivation. You need to become the kind of person who says, even when I don't feel like it, I'll go one more. And the Bible backs up this with power. Galatians 6:9, let us not get tired in doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we do not give up. This message is for the person who's been faithful but frustrated, quietly showing up, wondering if it's still working. You'll never keep doing one more consistently if deep down, you still believe you're someone who quits. This is where Ed Mylett makes a powerful distinction that most people miss. The key to doing hard things isn't willpower, it's identity alignment. You don't rise to the level of your goals. In The Power of One More, Mylett says your thermostat is set to a certain level, relationally, spiritually, financially, emotionally, and every time you try to outgrow it, your internal identity pulls you back down to what you believe you deserve. You want to lead, but you still believe you're unworthy. You want to speak, but you still believe you're not good enough. You want to go one more, but you still act like a person who gives up when it gets hard. You don't need to push harder, you need to believe deeper. And that's not just motivational fluff, it's actually what the scripture teaches as well. In Romans 12:2, it says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Real transformation doesn't start with behavior, it starts with a belief in yourself. You have to start seeing yourself not as someone trying to change, but as someone who is changing. God doesn't wait until you've proven yourself to give you a new name. He speaks it before you see the evidence. He called Gideon a mighty warrior while he was still in hiding. He called Peter the rock before Peter ever acted stable. He called you a new creation even when you still feel like a mess. Because your identity isn't a reward for results. It's the foundation of what you're capable of becoming. So if you want to apply the power of one more to your life, let's start by saying, I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. I'm the kind of person who shows up when I don't feel like it. I'm the kind of person who follows through to the end. Not just once, not when it's easy, but again and again, and one more time after that. Because when your identity shifts, your consistency finally has a place to live. Everybody wants to see the results of one more, but not many people want the rhythm of actually doing it. Michael Phelps trained 365 days a year. His coach Bob Bowman said the reason he trained every day was because he knew no one else would. That gave him the psychological edge. He didn't win 23 Olympic gold medals because he felt like swimming every day. He won because he trained when others were resting. And so for you, this is one more rep, one more decision, one more early morning. That's where legacy is built, and that's where you can give yourself, your brain, the psychological edge that you need to push forward. In The Power of One More, Mylett says the secret to success isn't one massive breakthrough. It's learning how to stack small wins over and over until momentum is inevitable. It's one more rep, one more text of encouragement to someone, one more disciplined meal, one more rejection survived, one more day you didn't quit. None of these feel world-changing on their own, but they weren't meant to. They were designed to compound, like tiny investments that pay off in focus, strength, and integrity. And as a business coach in my business, I love challenging my clients with a one more mentality. One more phone call a day might not sound like much, but over the course of the year, that's 250 plus extra opportunities. And over time, those reps compound. But my favorite one more challenge was for my clients who were scared to make a close. I never taught aggressive sales tactics. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. I just asked them to do one thing for me. I said, I want you to ask one more hard question. Something as simple as, do you want to work with me? It's not complicated. It just takes courage. But here's the magic. The more you do it, the less hard it feels. Your brain rewires what used to feel risky, and suddenly that hard question becomes the easy one. And that's the power of one more. Not just the results, but how it transforms who you believe you are. And the Bible teaches us in Proverbs 21:5, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. That's not just financial, it's emotional and spiritual too. If you want peace, you don't just pray for it once, you build it through consistent moments of discipline, clarity, and obedience. And what makes Ed's model so effective is that it's not overwhelming. He's not telling you to overhaul your life overnight. He's just saying, just do one more. Why? Because your brain doesn't trust your goals. It trusts your patterns. That's why reading one verse instead of a whole chapter matters. Praying for 5 focused minutes instead of none. Starting your day in stillness instead of scrolling on your phone. Those little acts aren't about checking a box. They're about telling your mind, this is who I am now. I don't skip the hard things. I show up even when it's small. And the Bible backs this mindset up completely. Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. That's the principle at work. You don't earn trust from yourself, from others, or even from God by going big one time. You earn it in being faithful in the small consistently. That's the power of one more. It's not about grinding harder. It's about refusing to stop just before your season starts to shift. So if you want to use this starting today, pick one area where you've been inconsistent. Your health, your faith, your focus, your content, your discipline. Now commit to one more action today in that area. Don't aim it to feel powerful. Aim it to be repeatable, because success doesn't respond to emotions. It responds to patterns. And if you can do something once, you can do it again. And if you do it again, you're already halfway to unstoppable. Now let's be honest. One more sounds inspiring when you hit a wall. You're tired, you've tried, you're not seeing the results. And part of you wonders, what's the point of pushing again? This is where most people stop, not because they're weak, but because they're watching the scoreboard instead of trusting the system. In The Power of One More, Ed Mylett says something that hits super hard. You won't rise to the level of your goals. You'll fall to the level of your standards. When it hits hard, your emotions will try to negotiate. They'll whisper things like, take a break, skip today, you've already done enough, this isn't working anyways. But your standards don't care how you feel. And if your standard is, I always go one more, you'll still take that next step, even with a shaky voice, even with tired eyes, even with nothing left in the tank. That's where breakthrough happens. Not before it gets hard, but after it gets hard and you push through anyway. Hebrews 12:1-2 says, let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross. Even Jesus didn't enjoy the pain. He endured it because of the joy on the other side. You don't need to love the pressure. You just need to see the purpose beyond it. Because that one more push might be the rep that changes your body, the DM that shifts your business, the email that opens a door, the prayer that brings peace, the day that marks your breakthrough, or that one nice compliment that could change your relationship. You don't always know what's next, but God does. And your job isn't to feel your way through this season. Your job is to keep showing up. Because you're not just someone who hopes for change. You're someone who endures it. And the longer you're faithful in the one more, the more likely you are to finally see what all of it was for. Hey, if this is speaking to you, chances are someone in your circle needs to hear it too. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. It's not just to support this channel, but to help get this message in front of people who are one more moment away from their breakthrough. Now, this is where it gets super cool and really compounds. Because one more isn't about finishing your workout or hitting a sales goal. It's about who's watching you fight through it. In The Power of One More, Ed Mylett shares one of the most personal stories in the book. His dad battled alcoholism for years until one day he made the choice to go one more day sober, then another, then another. And because of that one decision, repeat over time, Ed's father changed the legacy of his entire family. He became a man his son could follow. And Ed grew up not just with a dad, but with a blueprint for redemption. And that's the true power of one more. It's not about doing more for yourself. It's about living with the awareness that your breakthrough might become someone else's blueprint to follow in your shoes. In Deuteronomy 30:19, it says, today I've given you the choice between life and death. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. That's not just poetic, it's generational truth. The decisions you make today are writing someone else's story for tomorrow. When you show up one more time in your marriage, when you stay sober one more day, when you forgive one more offense, when you pray one more prayer over your kid's bed, you're not just enduring, you're shaping a legacy. And this is what Ed calls generational momentum. It's not reserved for perfect people. It's available to anyone willing to say, I'll do one more, not because I feel strong, but because I refuse to pass down weakness. The world doesn't need the loudest leaders. It needs more consistent ones. So if you're wondering whether your quiet faithfulness matters, it does. The one more you commit to today could be the miracle your family tells stories about 20 years from today. So now if this message hits hard with you, don't just say, that was good. Do something with it. Pick one area of your life where you've been holding back. And this week, go one more rep in the gym, one more email, one more night of obedience, one more moment of courage. And if you want deeper into Ed Mylett's full message, we've linked The Power of One More in the description below. It's a powerful read, especially if you're building discipline, momentum, or legacy from the ground up. And if you want a guide to help you turn those momentums into lasting improvement, I've built something for you. It's called The 12 Laws of Faith-Driven Success. It's a free scripture-backed blueprint to help you build habits that last, lead with purpose, and grow into who God called you to be. It's a free download. Just check out Zolane.com/12laws. And I want you to remember this, very important. God did not create you to be average. So take that first step today.